Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning and getting you ready for your upcoming CTA exams. Um, my name is Richard Wright, and I'm from the ADOVH team, and I'm an educational technologist. So we will be showing you today just how to access your exams, how to get ready with Iris, so that you can get that sorted already and just focus on preparing for your exams. We've also got in our a whole team that's here to support you today. So we've also got various academics, but I'm just gonna perhaps ask Prof. King if she just also wants to do a welcome before we start.
Thank you, colleagues. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Good morning, fellow students. Today we have an information session for IRIS for test one. We're already running IRIS for our SAP that is currently running, but we thought it would be great to have an information session for the new cohort, for the 2023 cohort, in preparation for test one on the 28th of March. I hope you are all prepared, or if not, you are preparing, but wanted to make sure that you have the technical stuff out of the way before you focus on your studies. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Thank you, Prof. So let's get started with the program for today. So we're going to have a look at how do you actually go download your paper, how do you then upload your script afterwards. But mostly we're going to focus also on the proctoring tool Iris, how to set it up, and then also how do you prepare with the Iris preparation sites so that you can make sure all your technical setup is already sorted. Then afterwards, we will hand over to David for just the popular questions to see any questions that are most frequent in the chat. So please make use of the chat to ask any questions. We've got a team to answer the questions in the chat, and afterwards we will raise some of the more popular questions as well. So very importantly, I just want you to get this link. This is the one you definitely need to access your exams. So I'm just going to post that link in the chat as well. Let me just get here. So this is the link to access the CAS My Exams portal. So this is where you will be writing your exams and also submitting your exams. So if we look at the procedures, so you just click on the link, it will ask you to log in. So you log in with your UNISA student number and your My UNISA password, and then you click on the login button. Now you will notice this is going to look exactly like the normal My Modules portal, except that now at the top it will say My Exams, and then you will be able to select your module from the My Exams drop-down menu. So if we look at, how do you access the paper and submitting the paper? First, you log into the CAS My Exams site. You select the module that you will be writing for. You then download the paper for the examination. The iris invigilation will start automatically. It will pop up. You complete the paper in the allocated time, and this can be on paper or if you can do it digitally as well. Then finally, you scan or save the document as a PDF document, and then you log in again to CAS My Exam site for uploading. So just a summary, basically you're going to log into the My Exams portal, you're going to download your paper. Iris will start automatically once you start downloading. Once you're ready to start writing, on Iris, you will say, okay, start invigilation. You will use then the time to complete your answer paper. Finally, you will scan and upload in a PDF document, and then you stop Iris. So I'm just quickly going to show you the navigation on the site. Let me just open up the link over here. So if you click on the link, it will open up where you need to log in. So you will be putting in your student number and your MyUnisa password, and you click on the login button. I just want to make a note there is remember, this is a different portal from my module. So make sure you've got your MyUnisa password, that you know it, because it might ask you to re-enter it. So just make sure you've got your current MyUnisa password. So if you need to log in, you can log in. You can actually already try and log in from your side as well. So on the exams portal, you'll notice now it looks exactly almost like my modules. Just at the top, there's a drop down. And on this, you will see the module for which you will be writing. Now, just note, sometimes on these sites, so if it's more than 3 tiles, you might have to click like a little drop down to see more files, to see where perhaps you need to download your script. But generally, the sites are very flatlined. You will just see announcements, the assessment that you need to do, and perhaps the additional resources folder. So at this stage, basically, once you start, you'll click on the paper, a pop-up will appear for Iris to start. Now, a lot of you might be writing out on paper, say on a notepad, and you need to then scan in with your mobile phone if you do not have a scanner. So one app that we can really recommend is the OneDrive mobile app. It's got a little button at the bottom that looks almost like a camera. And with that button, you can then scan in documents. So it actually saves it already as a PDF document. And it actually makes the pages look exactly like a scanned in document, centers them and make sure that the text is very clear. And remember, your MyLife email accounts are Microsoft 365 accounts. So you can actually log into the app with your MyLife email address, and then you will be able to have a terabyte of storage on this OneDrive. Now, another site that we can also recommend, say you scan in your files and it's perhaps a bunch of JPEGs, or it's multiple PDF documents. So you can actually use this site, and you just on here you can upload multiple files, merge them into a single PDF. You can even split the PDF, but most importantly, also you can compress the PDF. So if you scan in at a very high resolution and the file is too big to upload, you can come here and compress the PDF to a smaller size. Just make sure before you submit your PDF document that it's still legible. Now, also very importantly, on your announcements, make sure that you follow the guidelines that's being sent to you. It will give you the exact time to start, perhaps alternative upload links, and also, the time allocation that you have for your paper. So make sure you've got those guidelines and you read them thoroughly. Now, I know most of you are here, probably heard about the proctoring tool that will be used, and you really want to get set up and get ready with that. So let's just cover some basics of the proctoring tool. So you might know that Unisa's got multiple proctoring tools, for instance, the Moodle proctoring, the Invigilator app, and now the Iris Invigilation. So for you, you will only be using Iris Invigilation. Remember, you always use only one proctoring tool. So you won't be using Moodle proctoring in combination with Iris Invigilation. It will only be Iris Invigilation. Now, one thing to note about Iris Invigilation, it only runs on a laptop or a desktop computer, so it's not a mobile app. You need a Google Chrome browser extension, but it also works on Microsoft Edge. Your computer that you're going to be using requires a microphone and a camera. So if you're going to be using a desktop computer, it must have a webcam that has a microphone built into it. So just make sure that you've got these requirements. Now, I just also want to just go back here. One requirement, especially for when it comes to the exams, is that you do need a profile photo on My Modules. So remember, this profile photo is on My Modules, not the My Exams portal. It will also not display on the My Exams portal. But please, if you have not done so already, go to My Modules, to your profile, and then select Edit Profile, and then there you can upload a profile picture. So here's just the example. So on the profile, you just scroll down to use a picture. You select a picture that's clear of your face. Remember, these are used in combination with proctoring tools just to make sure, ensure your identity. So these photos should be clear of your face, preferably in a landscape mode or a square picture. Sometimes if it's a portrait picture, it tends to rotate 90 degrees. So just make sure you've got a clear picture on your My Modules. But just remember, when you're going to log into My Exams, it will not show there, but you do not need to worry about that as long as it's on My Modules. Now, very importantly, I'll put this link as well in the chat. So you should be able already, when you log into CAS, you should be able to see this IRIS preparation site. So this is the site where you can go and prepare for your paper that you're going to be writing. So just make sure that you've already got access to IRIS preparation so that you can actually go and do the steps to prepare for the assessment. So with this, I'm going to hand over to Lazarus that will show us the setup and also a demo of how IRIS is working. Thank you, Lazarus.
Hello, sorry about that. I'm accessing this this session on two computers because I've been having an issue with one of my computers. I've got that sorted now. So I'm going to first take you through the IRIS setup, like David said. Richard said. Let me just share my screen quickly. I'm going to share my entire screen because that will help with the demonstration. Okay, so let me just find this. Sorry. Why is this not working now? Okay, there's my. Okay, there we go. All right. So, like I said, I'm going to take you through the IRIS setup instructions. My name is Lazarus Aaron. I've been working in CSET for quite a few years, but we've been using IRIS for the CSET examinations for the last 3 years since COVID and since online examinations. And although we did have some initial teething problems, students are now quite familiar with IRIS and can use IRIS effectively. Most students. I think the students who use it for the first time, first year students, maybe still struggle a little bit, but that's usually because they don't do the practice test before the examinations. They don't test if IRIS actually works properly. So Richard just showed you the site where you can go and test IRIS. So it's important that you test IRIS before your examination. Make sure it works. Make sure it works on the computer that you're going to be writing your test on, because often you'll find students, on the computer and on the network that you're going to be writing your test on, because sometimes IRIS might give you issues if you're using maybe your network at your employees, and the network might not allow certain things, or sometimes the laptop for an employer's laptop also does not allow certain things, so you may not be able to use IRIS. So it's important that you test IRIS before you write your actual test. What is IRIS? IRIS is an invigilation system that we use at UNISA to provide some sort of assurance of assessment integrity. UNISA has, like Richard mentioned, UNISA has different apps, but at CSET, we needed to use IRIS because of certain requirements by the engineering board. And the other apps were not sort of qualified in a sense. The engineering board did not believe that it provided enough assessment integrity, and this is the precise reason why the CTA students are now also required to use IRIS. It's because the Invigilator app is not entirely necessarily certified by the necessary boards, and so yeah, we have to use a system that provides better assurance of integrity. So what does IRIS do? IRIS records audio, video, and computer screen activity during the entire duration of the examination. It uses machine learning to flag potential academic dishonesty. This point is very important. Although it uses machine learning, it is a person ultimately at the end that decides whether a student may have copied or not. So IRIS may flag you looking at different apps, applications on your screen, different software on your screen. It might flag you for going onto different tabs when you're writing your examination. It might flag you for excessive movement, but we look at those flaggings and try to determine, okay, this student is, and it's quite easy to determine by looking at it, whether the student is actually copying or not. You find often that students will try to pretend that they're not copying, so they will look to the left and look to a book and then start writing again and look to a book. But so you can, by us looking at the videos, we can tell. IRIS may flag you, but we can tell whether it's just you stretching a little bit, or and because your examinations need to be, your tests are written on paper, so IRIS might impossibly flag you, not the entire time, but when you're lifting up your head, it might flag you. So, like I said, although it uses machine learning, you don't have to worry about whether you will be flagged for dishonesty or not. It is a person that will look at the person from the examinations department that will look at your recordings, and then we'll make a determination whether we believe you were possibly being dishonest or not. IRIS also has GPS location, so it can tell whether you are writing in the same location as other students. Again, it's not that this is not allowed. Maybe you have few students, maybe you're sitting in at one of the uni's offices. So it's not that this is entirely disallowed, but again, you look at the recordings if you find, and your scripts if we see that students have been sitting in a close location, close to each other. So how does IRIS work? When you open your examination, this is the pop-up that should come. Well, this is the IRIS pop-up. When you open the examination, IRIS pops up. You need to fill in the instructions, and IRIS then records you the entire duration of the exam. It records everything you do. It records your screen activity, and it records all audio as well. So this is important. Necessary equipment. You need a stable internet connection. IRIS uploads the recordings every 10 minutes or so. It uploads it to the IRIS servers. So your internet connection needs to be stable. But if it does drop and IRIS stops working, you can simply open your exam and open IRIS again. So it doesn't, we understand that internet connections, especially in the country we will live in, is not necessarily all that stable all the time. So we consider that. So if you do have a problem with your internet connection, please, and IRIS stops, IRIS gives you an error, please go and restart IRIS. You need a laptop or desktop. You can't use a phone. As you may have used previously, you cannot use a phone this time around. You need a laptop or desktop. The laptop or desktop needs to have either an external or built-in microphone. It needs to have a web camera, and we recommend that the minimum specification is 4 GB RAM. This is quite important, I believe. IRIS might slow your computer down if it's not 4 GB RAM, and Windows 7 64-bit. This is not entirely that important. 32-bit will also work, but this is what we recommend. Obviously, if you have Windows 10, that will be even better. So before you write your Iris Invigilator exam, you need to install Iris on your browser. So Iris is a browser plugin. It gets installed on your browser. I'll do a demonstration just now. You can either use Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge. Iris does not work on other browsers like Mozilla Firefox or even Safari. So if you have a Mac computer, you have to download Google Chrome for your Mac and then install Iris on that. You need to have the latest browser version. So the latest version of the browser that you are using, you need to make sure that it's the latest version. So how do you go about installing? I'll go through this quickly because I'm going to do a proper demonstration just now. You will go to the Google Chrome Web Store or the Microsoft Edge Store. You will search for Iris. Iris is usually the first extension that pops up. This is the Iris icon. You will click on the Iris icon. Then you will click on the Chrome Web Store. You will click on Add to Chrome. You will then click on Add Extension. And then your Iris environment is installed. You are ready to write an Iris Invigilator test. When you are writing your examination or your test, you'll open your browser, log onto the examination site. As soon as you open the actual examination, Iris is activated. You will complete all the Iris instructions carefully, and then you start your test. At the end, Iris stops automatically at the end of the due time for your examination, and Iris will start uploading the last 10 minutes of the file that it has not uploaded as yet. It will upload and it will close by itself. Okay, if you're using Iris for the first time, Iris will want permission to use your camera and use a microphone. You'll have to click allow on both instances. This is only for the first time that you're using Iris. You don't have to do that every time you're writing an Iris test. Iris will ask you to, okay, so this is the pop-up. As soon as you open your assessment, this is the first screen that you will see on your Iris pop-up. You'll need to agree to the first set of terms and conditions and privacy policy. You do not have to consent for use of data. You will then click on continue. Then Iris, this lady here, will start talking, and she'll give you instructions on the entire Iris process, Iris setup process. She'll ask you to choose your camera, choose your microphone, enter your full name, and enter your student ID. Please make sure that you enter your student ID here and not your South African ID number. Make sure that your ID is correct. If it's not correct, we will have difficulties knowing whether you have used Iris or not, and you will be flagged as actually not using Iris if your ID number, your student ID, is not correct. So then you will be asked to capture your ID document or your student ID, or take a picture of your student ID. You can use your student ID, or you can use a driver's license, or you can use your ID book, some identification with your picture on it. You will then, this is not entirely necessary. There's this, the next step is that it'll ask you to position your face in front of the camera. You'll see when I'm doing the Iris demonstration now that this process, it's not entirely necessary. But if it does ask you to do it, and it says it hasn't done the face detection technology yet, then please make sure your face is in front of the camera and it draws the square on your face. But it's also fine if it doesn't do it. The next step, you'll have to click on Start Invigilation. And then after that, there's this very important step that actually still needs to be completed. Even though you have clicked on Start Invigilation, it has not necessarily started invigilation. You have to share your screen. You have to allow Iris to share your screen. You will click on this little copy of your screen. So this picture here is a copy of this entire screen. You have to click on it. Once you click on it, this button turns to purple, it'll be initially grayed out. You won't be able to click on it initially, but once you click here on the copy of your screen, you will then be allowed to click on the share button. You will click on it, and then Iris starts recording. You minimize Iris at the end of the test. If the time is up, Iris will pop up automatically. If the time is up, you can maximize Iris and stop Iris yourself. After you stop it or the time is up, it will upload certain files. It usually takes under 5 minutes, probably takes a minute or 2 minutes, and then it will close automatically and you are done with the Iris invigilation. So, okay, so all students that are writing the CTA, I guess in your case, it's the test. You are linked to Iris on my exams, and on the, so go to on there, there's also some troubleshooting document. If you do experience issues, there's some troubleshooting document that can help with certain specific issues that we realize that Iris, does have certain students experience, but we have the troubleshooting documentation on the preparation side of it. I don't think it's actually on the exams, my exams one. We will put it there today. Yeah. Okay, so good luck. Okay, I'm not gonna finish right now, but what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to stop sharing and reshare my screen because I realized I didn't share with audio, right? So audio allowed. I'm going to do that quickly. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is take you to the Iris practice site. So as Richard mentioned, if you are writing the test or you're a CTA student, you should be linked to this Iris preparation site on my exams. So when you're writing exams, you'll follow the similar procedure as I'm doing now. You'll go to the exam site, and then your examination will say, or your test will say test 1 or test 2. You will open the test. Wait, sorry. I just wanna before I do this, so I wanna do something else. I'm going to remove, this is the Iris icon. So this is, as I said, Iris is installed on your browser. So I'm going to remove this quickly, remove it, just to show you how you go about actually installing. So on Chrome, what you would do is you would search for the Chrome Web Store. Usually E is the first one, but in this case, it's not actually the first one, it's this one. So this is the Chrome Web Store. I will then search for Iris. And as I mentioned, Iris is the first extension that will pop up. It should just remember this icon, and it should say Iris Invigilation. You click on it. You then click on Add to Chrome. You click on Add Extension. It will take a few seconds to download, and then there we go. So Iris is added. In this case, initially it's not pinned to the taskbar, so it will move. So you can pin it yourself. You can just click on the little puzzle piece on Google Chrome, and you can click on pin, and then the Iris is now pinned on your taskbar now. So when I opened the site now, Iris popped up, but I closed it. So I'm going to go back. So this is maybe also something that's important, that I mentioned earlier that Iris might give you problems during the examination. So what you can do is you can actually just, Iris will give you an error, so you can close Iris, you can go back to this page, and then you can just click on it, open the exam again, and Iris will pop up again. Okay, so I'm gonna click on agree to terms and conditions. Okay, so that's me there on the screen. So I'm going to click on agree to terms and conditions. As soon as I click on agree, the Iris lady is going to start talking. So I'm going to then be quiet for a few seconds. If I click on agree, it allows me to click on continue.
Hi, I'm Iris, the Intelligent Remote Invigilation System. I'm here to guide you through the process and to help ensure academic integrity in your assessment. Remote invigilation is not about trying to catch you doing something wrong, but rather to remind you and your fellow classmates of the importance of maintaining academic integrity during assessments. Academic integrity means acting with the values of honesty, fairness, and responsibility, and is important to maintain your reputation and the value of your qualification. During your assessment, I will be recording from your webcam and microphone and capturing whatever is showing on your screen. So your first step is to activate a webcam by selecting from the list. Once a webcam is selected, you should see something in the panel below. Don't worry, no one will be looking at you through the camera during the assessment. However, staff involved in your unit will be able to see what you are doing when they review the recordings later. If you have more than one camera, choose the camera that will show your face from the front. Compare your image to the example here. Position yourself so that your head and shoulders are visible and take up most of the window, as shown below. Try not to be too close or too far away. Make sure your face is easy to see. If your face is too dark, try shining a lamp towards you. If the background is too bright, close the curtains or shift your position so that there are no bright lights behind you. Ensure you are in a quiet location with minimal background noise, no music, and where you won't be interrupted. I need to be able to hear everything that you hear and anything that might happen in the room, so you are not allowed to use headphones or earbuds. Next, we are going to confirm your identity, so enter your name and student ID into the boxes on screen. Make sure a webcam and microphone are selected, and then click the Next button.
Okay, so one important thing is that this lady will talk every single time you activate Iris. On the first time you activate Iris, you have to let her talk the entire way through. So you have to let her give you you have to listen to all the instructions, and then only will you be able to click on next. But on each subsequent time that you use Iris, you can pause her, so it doesn't. It might, because it takes time. You can just pause her and then complete these instructions, or these not instructions, but these requirements. Here you would put your full name, and here you will put your student number. And then as soon as I've completed all the instructions, it allows me to click on next. I'll click on next. But like I said, if you go and you click these, if you complete these, and the first time you're using Iris and you haven't let her completely give you complete the instructions, then the next button won't turn. So first time you're using Iris, you have to let her talk. So each subsequent time, you can pause her. Okay.
Now hold your student ID card in front of the camera. It should be close to the camera so that it fills the whole image. Click the Capture ID card button to take a snapshot of your card. You can repeat this until you have obtained a clear image of your ID card. When you're done, click Next.
Okay, so Iris does use the ID for authentication purposes. So it actually, this would actually, okay. So you would hold your ID up to the camera, and you would then click on this Capture ID, and there we go. I think that's usually good enough. Iris uses it for authentication purposes, so it tries to match the picture with the person who's talking, who's sitting in front of who's writing the examination. If it doesn't, we can do it manually. So Iris can do it automatically, and if it's not able to, it'll just say unauthenticated, and the exams department will do it manually. So okay, after you've captured your ID, you click on next.
Now that I can see and hear you, I will indicate that you're in the right position by drawing an outline around your face. If I can't see your face, the outline will disappear. If this happens, shift your position until you are clearly visible. During the assessment, if you are not clearly visible, the video frame will be flagged for investigation. Finally, we need to be able to capture what is showing on your screen. When you click the Start Invigilation button, you will see a pop-up window, like this example, showing all of your connected screens. It is important that you only have one active screen, the screen that is displaying your assessment. Completely disconnect any additional screens. Once you have shared your screen, return to your assessment where I will enter the password for you. If the assessment is timed, your time will only begin when you start your assessment. When you've finished your assessment, I'll come back and explain the upload process. I hope this information was useful. When you are ready, click the Start Invigilation button to begin your assessment.
Okay, so you can see it didn't really ask me to do the check because I'm seated in a good position. So you notice that there was a pop-up just now that I clicked on OK. So I suggest that you do the same thing. That is just instructions on what you're supposed to, written instructions on what you're supposed to do next after you've clicked on Start Invigilation. So after I clicked on Start Invigilation, as I mentioned previously, invigilation hasn't started unless I complete this step. So I have to, this is a copy of my entire screen. So if you can see as I move on here, this is my camera as well. So I have to allow it to share the screen. So I have to click on that copy. This is, I'm sort of reiterating this because it's something that students forget how to do, forget that they need to do, or are unable to do for some reason or the other. And we have lots of issues in the past with students just minimizing IRIS here and continuing with the examination, and they believe that they are being invigilated, but they are not. So you have to click on this. You have to say share. Now invigilation has started. Okay, so this is actually set for 2 hours. Which is actually, I'm not sure if that's. I'm not going to sit here and wait for the 2 hours to finish anyway. So after you can now minimize IRIS, and then you can go to the exam site. So I'm not in student mode, but you'll have your PDF here that you can download. Maybe I can actually just switch my role to student. I'm going to do that quickly. Oh, okay, so sorry, but on your actual examination, you will have your PDF here. This needs to change. We will actually change this today as well, because the assignment should not be overdue. It should be available. So I should be able to see it here. I should be able to download it. But anyway, you would download your paper would open up, you would write it. Somebody asked on the chat if you can print your paper. Yes, you can print your paper. And then once you've actually printed your paper, there's something you need to do. You need to do a desk scan. Because your tests are open book, but you're only allowed certain material. We need to see what's on your desk. What kind of material is on your desk. So you will do a desk scan. You lift up your computer or your camera, and you would just show us what's on your desk so that we can see that what is on your desk is what you're supposed to be using. So if you print your examination paper, you can just do that so that we can, and you can put it on your desk just so that we can see, oh, okay, that's the correct material is on your desk, and then you can again minimize it. You can continue writing your test. While you're writing, IRIS is still recording you, so it's recording me. If I have the paper open on my screen, that's fine. I can look at the screen and I can read, and then I can write. Yeah. Once you're done, you do not click on the stop sharing. What you must do, if you finish early, if you've written your exam, your test, and you've uploaded before you finish uploading before the end of the upload time, and time is not up as yet, but IRIS is still recording, you can maximize IRIS. You can click on this button here, finish recording. This is important. You need to slide this side. Once you do that, it will allow you to click on yes. You click on yes.
Hey, it looks like you've finished and submitted your assessment. However, don't go just yet. It is important to wait until I've completely uploaded your session. The time this takes will depend on the speed of your internet connection. Progress in uploading the files is shown here. When I'm done, this window will close automatically. If I'm interrupted for some reason, you need to get me to try again. To do this, reopen the assessment and click the Finalise Uploads button. That's it. If you need me again, you can find me by clicking the Activate Assistant button. See you next time.
Okay, so in this case, it's not closing. If it doesn't close, it has finished. Process is complete. I can just close Iris and then I'm done. That's it, Richard. I'm done.
Yeah, thank you, Lazarus. Okay, sharing my screen, yeah. So yes, so the steps are very easy. You just add the extension to either Chrome or Microsoft Edge, and then you can come and do the preparation assessment on my exams. Remember, you have to hand write out your assessments, so you will need to scan in to a PDF document for uploading. Remember, when you start the invigilation, that's when the actual invigilation starts. So you first download your paper, you set up Iris, and then when you're ready to start writing, you click on Iris Start Invigilation. Afterwards, you go and then scan in your document. You can either use your mobile phone or a scanner, and then you submit on the My Exams portal. Once you've submitted, then you on Iris, you say Stop Invigilation. Just a few questions that I did note from previous sessions was, what happens if you need to go use the bathroom? What if I have to go to another room to go scan in my document or print the document? Remember, everything that you do, just communicate it into the camera. So for instance, just say to it, I'm quickly going to the bathroom, or I'm quickly going to scan my documents. And then once you come back, you just take your laptop and you scan your desk again, or the camera. Just show what is on your desk so you didn't bring any new material. You also scan at the beginning to show that you've only got the books and things that you may have for the assessment. So yes, so please to remember that even if you get flags, a person will still go and have a look to see if any academic dishonesty did take place. So it's not automatically that it does go through to say that you were academically dishonest. Somebody do go through those recordings and the information that was recorded. So please get the Iris set up even today. Go and do the practice one where you just need to upload a document so you can how can I say, test the procedure that everything is working, and then you know you're ready for your assessment so that you can just focus on your preparation. So for this section, I'm just going to hand over to David, just also if there's any questions that's popping up in the chat that we can address.
All right, thank you, Richard, and good morning, students. Thank you for your questions. I have been noting them as we've moved along this morning. All right, let's go for it. The first question that came up, this is quite interesting, colleagues, so you're just going to have to listen to this one. If we scan the answer sheet using our phone, do we then use our phone to upload or email the scanned PDF to our computers, download it, and then upload it? Will we not be flagged for switching tabs when doing this, considering we also open tabs for printing the paper? Wow. So that seems like that's a lot of admin that the student's going through. So colleagues, what would we suggest to the student? I'm opening the floor. Anyone can answer.
Sorry, David. So students do not necessarily have to transfer the assessment to their phones. They can and to their computers. They can just upload on their phones if they want to. So that is allowed after they've scanned. But if they do want to send it to their email it to themselves first and then upload on the My Exams platform, that's also fine. You will get flagged, yes, but you won't be marked for as it won't be marked as honest. So it will get flagged automatically, but obviously we will know that you just uploaded your exam script. We can see that.
All right, great. Thank you, Lazarus. So hopefully, student, that answered your question. Try to make it as easy for yourself as possible. The next one, the IRIS practice exam, it's not available. Please help. All right, so how do students get to the practice exam?
Okay, I can answer that. So the link, just click on the link that we provided. I'll put it in the chat again. So I did change the submission. So the submission was incorrect, but it is now open. So you will be able to access the site. And remember, if you are supposed to be added to it already, but I see there was a few that was not on the site already. So we did open it as guests. So the first time that you're going to access the site, it will ask you to enroll. So you just click the enroll button, and then you will have access to the site.
All right, thanks, Richard. Great stuff. So there we go, students. Okay, the next one that comes up came up a few times, and I know in other sessions it also came up. If I have books or textbooks on my desk, what should I do? The quick answer is, students, you need to move your device, your laptop, for example, just to show your desk. I think Lazarus did explain that one to you guys, so hopefully that answers it. The data requirements for IRIS. Previously, it was posted that it's 60 minutes for 60 megabytes. So if it's 180 minutes, a 3-hour exam paper, it should be 180 megabytes. Is that correct, colleagues?
Yes, that's correct, David.
Okay, super. All right, so that should answer that question. The printing question, can I print my test paper before? Yes, you can. Again, as Richard said, excuse me, if you do need to leave your desk, just talk to IRIS, talk to your device. I know it seems a bit odd, but it will record saying, I'm printing my document, I'm going to get it. That's fine, guys. You can print, so it's not a problem. If my antivirus pops up when I'm busy, will I be flagged? Yes, I'm assuming it will flag it, but if they review, they can see it's just an antivirus popping up, so it shouldn't be a train smash. Then, of course, the one question we can definitely not avoid, can't we go back to venue-based assessments, please? This admin and load shedding is creating havoc for me. So I am going to hand over to our colleague who's going to tackle that question. Over to you, Zinzekele.
Oh no, I'm not gonna tackle that question, David. I wanted to request that I show at the end some important changes for our repeat students. So with regards to load shedding, I will reiterate what Ms. Kamulane had said in previous meetings, that the institution is not in charge or responsible for load shedding. Therefore, the students would have to check their schedule for load shedding, make sure that they have their devices charged, and ensure that at the time that you have load shedding in your area, you are able to partake in the exam. Unfortunately, it is an unfortunate situation for the entire country that we have to go through load shedding, and there has been a lot of disruptions in most businesses, including institutions. So we urge you to please work with us until we are at a better state as a country. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, on my side, that's pretty much it, Richard. I see colleagues have answered pretty much all the questions in the chat. So students, please just refer to the chat. If you've got any technical issues, there is an email address that they can post that students can email to for assistance. Back to you, Richard.
Richard, can I please come through? I do apologize. I just would like to show the students the schedule so
Yes,
that they are aware of the changes.
Yes, Prof, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Colleagues, as you might know, that test 1 consists of all the 5 modules, and it's written in one day for the new students. For the students that are repeating, unfortunately, the difference is that the papers will be released at the time that is scheduled. Previously, we released all the papers in the morning within the first 30 minutes, and then you could print them out, the 3 first papers, and then you'd write them, obviously being invigilated by the app, so you could choose. We suspected that you could choose which paper you write at which stage. But with Iris, the major change is that Iris is only activated when you download the paper. So we will send out communication with the detailed schedule, but I just wanted to alert you that the schedule is as follows, that for an example, from 8:45 to 9 is the reading time for the first paper, which will be text 4861 or 4862. At 8:30 to 8:45, you will download the paper and activate Iris, and then you'll write for an hour. Thereafter, you'll move on to the next paper. If you do finish early, you can upload the paper, but those instructions will be clarified and communicated to you in the communication that we will send. The next paper will be MAC 4861, MAC 4862. So you would have to follow the schedule in terms of the download times and the activation of Iris. So within the MAC paper, you will activate Iris at 10 to 10:15. So we give you 15 minutes before each paper to download the paper and activate Iris. Then you'll have your reading time of 15 minutes, and then you'll have your writing time. So I just really wanted to emphasize this, that you no longer have the liberty to choose which paper you write when, but you'd have to follow the schedule as we will set it up on my exams for Iris to be activated at the time that you're expected to write. With the upload time, we still have provided you 30 minutes to upload all papers for the first session, and then also another 30 minutes to upload all papers for the next session. So that's what I wanted to highlight. I think that perhaps didn't come through clearly, in that it is important that you stick to the schedule and you do the paper within the time. With the upload, you will be allowed to upload on my exams the different papers in their different folders within the 30 minutes. Thank you so much, Richard.
Thank you, Prof. So I'm just quickly going to, so for the next one, so we will be making the recording available on the My Exams guides. So we will share the link in the chat as well. So if there is something that you want to go just review in the recording, so it will be made available there. I will also upload the recording to the Iris preparation site. So on the, it will either be under the additional resources, or it will be on this main screen as well, since there is some space here to add the video. So please just afterwards, if there is something that you want to review on the recording, it will be made under additional resources, but it will also be made available on the My Exams guide under webinar recordings. So you'll notice there's already some recordings for CTA supplementary as well, but we will upload this one that's now specifically for, that's going to be using the My Exams portal. With that, I just want to say good luck with your assessments. Please do not be afraid of the technology that's being used. Just set it up, you'll test it once, and you'll find that actually it's very easy to use. Just also make sure, as they mentioned with your load shedding schedules, you know, what happens if you get interrupted, you will have to restart. And unfortunately, then you will also be flagged with that. So rather try and get to a space where you can know you've got access for the duration of the invigilation. So with that, all the best of your assessments, and thank you everybody for that
Richard,
attended. Yes.
I do apologize. I am so disturbing today. We have Prof. Yolani. I think she would like to address something. If you would allow.
Yeah, sorry, Mrs. Mofokeng. I just wanted to, maybe if you can just highlight two things to the students. I see there's many questions on the handwritten scripts, and I think they're thinking they must type because it's on the computer, Iris. Just to maybe clarify the fact that it's still handwritten. And then maybe just the upload, some of them are just a bit confused whether it's after each session. They just wanted you to repeat that, please.
All right. Thank you, colleagues. So my fellow students, we still require you to handwrite. So what you do is that your computer would be showing your face. This is the question that we got before as well. And while you are writing, Iris will be looking at, or your camera will be faced towards your face so that we can see any movement. And as also mentioned that you have to do a room scan so that we know what's around your desk. And if you do move away, perhaps to look at the SAICA handbooks, maybe your codes, your IFRS handbooks, then we know that that's the only material that's there. In terms of the uploads, you can still scan on your phone after you have completed your your answer script, and then you can also upload it using your phone. You do not necessarily have to switch email to your laptop and then email it to, not email it because we don't accept any email script, but in terms of the upload, you don't have to transfer your answer script into the laptop and then submit it on my exams or the contingency link. You can do it on your phone. Prof, have I covered everything?
Sensi, just one more thing. A few students now asked, and maybe rightly so, if they will be flagged if they start writing during the reading time.
I recommend, and we all recommend as management of the School of Applied Accountancy, that you do not start answering, but you can highlight and make notes as you are reading the paper. As usual, that's allowed, that you can highlight and make your notes. But then in terms of answering the question, please don't answer the question until your writing time commences. And in terms of the uploads of the papers, we have given you an allowance to upload the papers for the first session from 1 o'clock to 1:30. Then you can upload all papers then. But if you are a fast writer, I just have to confirm with our technical guys if it is possible to open the link after each session to upload. So I will communicate that within the communication so that it's written and it's clearer for everyone. But as it stands, you pile all your papers up, and then at the end, you make sure that text is in its folder, Mac is in its folder, AUE is in its folder, and then you just upload. We have tested the process. It does not take you that long to upload when we had tested the process. However, it is when students continue writing within the upload time and then they only have a minute to upload everything. That causes a lot of problems. The other thing that we have observed during the supplementary as well is that students share the paper on WhatsApp. Please do not share the paper because you will not be invigilated. The Iris app works on your computer once you have downloaded the paper. So if you have accessed the paper either then on my exams, then Iris will not pop up and you won't be invigilated, and therefore for that paper you will not get your mark. I think I've covered everything. Prof, have I?
Yes, thank you, Sensi.
All right.
There's just one final question. Is it a must that to print out the paper, or can they write using on the different notepad?
It's not a must that you print out the paper, but it will be advisable to leave the paper open on the computer that you are being invigilated on. So once you've downloaded the paper on your desktop or on your laptop, you can view it there and then write on a piece of paper with a pen next to you or just in front of the computer. So you don't necessarily have to print the paper. Where the problem is when you start using more than one screen or more than one device. Because as Mr. Lazarus had said, that Iris works on the web or on the computer that you are using. So if you move away from that Iris web or from your current web that you have open, then it tracks that you have moved away. So if you're using two devices, then that's very questionable for us. And we have seen pictures of students that are using two devices, and we recommend that you do not do that because it will prompt us to further investigate your script. Was that clear, Mr. Richard?
Yes, Prof. Thank you very much. I think that's basically covered all the questions. So thank you everybody for joining. Please go prepare on the IRIS preparation exam. We did paste the link again in the chat. We will also upload the recordings and any help documents on there as well under additional resources. So thank you everybody for joining us this morning, and all the best with your preparations and your assessments. Have a good day.